Be about 1982. Walking around Arizona. Eating at a diner with that day's share. Get approached by some guy.
Hello, my name is Alan.
Had a weird feeling about him. But as someone who roams freely from state to state, you kind of have to be wary of anyone and everyone. Alan begins to talk to him as if they were old friends. Starts talking about some money-making opportunity. Red flags going off every which way. Either prostitution or selling drugs. Alan says nothing like that. Just a simple job where Eddie has to drive and drop something off. Yeah, definitely drugs, Eddie thought to himself. To humor the guy, Eddie asked how much he's willing to pay. Alan said, how does 5K sounds to you? Just to drive something somewhere? Yup. Not even a long drive, hour and a half, leave the package off, and we're done. Eddie tells me his red flags are at crimson at this point, but he still said yes. Alan tells him to meet him there in 2 days. 2 days pass and Eddie meets up where Alan told him to. Only thing there is a car and a note. Hey, glad you came, payment is in the glove compartment, just promise me you don't check the trunk, okay? We'll know if you peek. Good luck, friend. And be sure to use all the money, don't want it going to waste. Eddie already knows this shit wasn't worth it, but a man doesn't go back on his word. Gets in the car, foul-smelling thing, like it hadn't been washed after a big party. He says he may have even seen some mold on it, but he didn't care. It was only an hour and a half drive, so he can just drive with the window down. All through the drive he notices some strange-looking people checking him out. Tells me this is during the time even though taboo, homosexuality really started getting more prevalent, least from what he saw. Shrugs it off and continues to drive to the next town, says it was around but not in Tucson. Gets out of the car and waits. Waits for a few hours and nothing. Wonders where this guy is. Was about to go to the store for a cigarette when a car drove up.
Hey, finally,
Eddie said. Alan was not the one who came out. This very sickly man comes out. Nice suit, but he looked paler than white. You could almost see the veins in perfect detail. Eddie said. You, Eddie? Alan told us about you. He spoke as if he's never spoken before.
Yeah, Eddie, Alan send you?
Yes. You have. What we came for? Eddie says the more he spoke the less coherent it sounded. Like he had only learned how to speak for today, but not enough to sound human. Yeah, it's in the trunk, he said. The weird man gives him a strange smile. Again, like he'd never done it before. Everything he did was inhuman, like in nature. From the way he walked to the way he spoke, hell, even the way he breathed felt like he was born yesterday and got a cram session on how to be a human being. As the man began to walk towards the car's trunk, he looked again at Eddie. You did not look at it?
Nope, it's all in there without a fingerprint on it.
As the man began to open the trunk, he made this disgusting noise. Eddie described it like as if he had an orgasm. Such a grotesque sound, even Eddie felt creeped out and had to ask,
Hey, you okay there?
The pale man, almost at light speed, turned and yelled. You said you didn't see.
What?
You looked. The voice has now gone from a faint whisper to a shriek that hurt Eddie's ears. What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't see anything, man. Fucking thing tosses a finger at him. A fucking finger. Eddie finally saw what was in the trunk. It was a person. Couldn't tell exactly if it was a male or female, could only see the top of the scalp. You keep looking. Eddie, now officially fucking scared, decides to try and walk backwards. The pale man now begins to walk towards him. Hey man, I didn't do anything, alright, let's calm down. Pale man begins to run at him. Running at him. The thing that was so limp and lame looking now begins to run at him. Eddie says fuck it and tries to run off and hope he can get away. He begins running as fast as he can in any direction he can. Hopes he can at least make it to a gas station. He can hear the man running at him. He's too close to get away. Eddie finally knows it's either the pale man or him. Turns around and takes out his pocket knife. The moment he turns, the pale man is right in front of his face. Thing tackles him down and tries to gouge his eyes out. Shrieking at the top of his lungs. Eddie tries to stab it, but the thing is so much heavier than he looks, and the pale man landed on his arms, making him stabbing it harder than usual. Feels complete and total fear from this thing. Its eyes are fully black looking. Hell, even his face looks like it was getting paler.
Is this where I'm gonna die? Is this thing human? Who the fuck is Alan?
Finally he gets just the right angle to push the pale man off and is able to swing his knife. Pale man doesn't even flinch and lunges at him again. Eddie finally just lunges and feels the knife hit. Pale man now lets out a shriek even louder than before. This shriek is so loud Eddie actually felt his ears ring. Even the after he felt his ears almost feel like they're numb. Pale man winces in pain and continues to shriek. It begins to run and doesn't even go near its own car. It just flees. Eddie watches it as it just runs away. As it leaves his sight he finally begins to relax just a bit. The pale man is now just gone. Almost no trace of it. Eddie looks down at the floor and his knife. No blood. No fluid on it at all. It's bone dry like it was new. What the fuck? Finally Eddie looks at the trunk. He knows he shouldn't. But he goes to look at the body. He couldn't even tell it's a person. It's fucking mangled. Only thing he could identify is hair. But it's just all disgustingly murdered. But he could tell it was intentionally done. So no one could identify it and no one could report it. Eddie just books it to the nearest town. Goes to the local police in some place called Saddlebrook. Police tell him they'll look into it. Seeing how they looked at him he knew they probably just thought it was a homeless man who went crazy. To this day he doesn't know what came of it since he left the town very soon after. All he knows is that he thinks he was a deliverer for some crazy ritual, or maybe some sick cannibal? He couldn't make heads or tails of it to the day he died. Even I can't really think of what it was. Maybe it was some weird governmental sacrifice or just a weird mob hit.
All I know was that's the last time I did anything for 5K.